This is the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
You're inside Jamaica Magazine.
Encouraging the information flow, sharing the news and views you need to know.
We are building an informed Jamaica every day.
Listening to what you say.
It's Monday, November 16. Thanks so much for opening the covers of today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am your host, Alison Watson. We are in the middle of Parent Month, and later on in the show, children weigh in on the do's and don'ts of good parenting. But before them, a look at some of the stories headlining today's newscast. The National Parent Teachers Association to speak out about the Gully Gaza feud. The number of H1N1 cases have gone up, and the JUTC and JBBC collaborates to fuel boxing. Later on in the show, our Monday regulars, Jamaica House Weekly and the FSC Minute. Do stay with us. The news in detail after this break.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, more than a supper.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think I saw we reach a the aging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
Now the news. The Gully Gaza conflict will be the main topic at the next Speak Out session being organized by the National Parent Teacher Association of Jamaica, NPTAJ. Association President Miranda Sutherland made the announcement during a recent GIS think tank session. The Speak Out session, which will take place in the western end of the island at a location to be announced, will also address the lottery scam in that area. According to the NPTAJ president, who is also a reverend, a Speak Out session is a session where the general public is invited to discuss issues and find ways and means to resolve them. The number of laboratory-confirmed cases of influenza A H1N1 in Jamaica has increased from 149 to 164. The Ministry of Health confirmed on the weekend, meanwhile, that the number of reported deaths associated with the disease remains at 5. In light of the increase in cases, the Health Ministry continues to urge persons who fall in the high-risk group for complications from influenza A H1N1 to seek medical attention immediately if they experience flu-like symptoms. Symptoms include a fever, cough, sore throat, and runny nose. The high-risk group includes pregnant women, persons with chronic medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, asthma, and heart disease, and children under 5 years old. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sheila Campbell-Forrester says those who fall outside of the risk group should stay home if they become ill and avoid contact with others. Medical attention should be sought immediately if symptoms persist or get worse. Members of the public are also being reminded to observe good hygiene practices, such as washing hands frequently with soap and water or using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer and covering nose and mouth when sneezing or coughing. For more information, persons may call the Ministry's toll-free line at 1-888-1-LOVE. That number is 1-888-663-5683, or contact their parish health department. And in other health-related news, the Ministry of Health says the 2-year contract it has entered into with telecoms provider Digicel will cost the government significantly less than the former fragmented system. He says the service covers 16 locations at a cost of some $15 million. This compares with the previous system, which cost $25 million for only 8 locations. The package negotiated with Digicel includes 2,500 mobile phones and 50 landlines free of cost, with a monthly flat charge of $250 per mobile and fixed line.
This minister is committed to reducing cost wherever we can without compromising the quality of patient care, and this is one area that we have done so.
Meanwhile, the committee set up to identify areas where cost-cutting measures can be employed in the ministry's operations is to prevent its recommendations to the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Jean Dixon, by December 8. The committee was established as part of a slew of initiatives aimed at containing costs in the face of the economic crisis that Jamaica continues to face.
It is expected that the recommendations of this committee will address matters such as process improvement and identifying other sources of revenue.
Minister Spencer says the process of engaging staff at all levels in decision-making as it relates to cost-cutting measures has begun. This includes meetings with regional health authorities and visits to public hospitals and public health departments. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, the JUTC, has handed over the first 11 of 25 personalized smart cards to the Jamaica Boxing Board of Control. Board President William Tavares Finson received the smart cards at a presentation ceremony held recently at the JIS Halfway Tree Road headquarters. Chairman of the JUTC, Robin Levy, says the donation represents JUTC's commitment to the development of sports in Jamaica. The smart cards will facilitate easier travel by members of the Boys Town Boxing Club.
They were having difficulty in finding the money for transportation to and from the gym, and we thought that this is something we would like to associate ourselves with. We were informed that this club had the blessing of the Jamaica Boxing Board of Control and therefore had no hesitation in putting together a package to assist these young boxers.
The club is currently being resuscitated to offer quality training to aspiring boxers, many of whom are between 11 and 16 years old. The donation, which amounts to approximately $100,000, will be disbursed over time. Each card has a value of $5,000 and will facilitate travel for 4 to 6 weeks. And to end our newscast, the annual Minard Agriculture Show is being lauded as an important training ground for young persons interested in going into the field of livestock agriculture. The show attracts mostly a youth following, which Agriculture Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he hopes will eventually translate into an increase in the number of local livestock farmers and dairy herds.
Jamaica has made a lot of strides in terms of our beef and dairy stocks. But in recent years, we have been particularly challenged for a number of reasons, both because of trade policy, but also because I think we have not invested as much as we should in the preservation, the sustainability, and the expansion of our beef and dairy herds.
Dr. Tufton laments the fact that milk production, for example, has declined from 40 to 14 million litres over the last 15 years. The Agriculture Minister explains that expanding the local beef and dairy herds, therefore, is an important aspect of the government's plans to guarantee food security locally.
The government has spent, in the form of grants and soft loans to farmers, dairy farmers, over $100 million. As part of the effort to resuscitate the dairy sector. In addition to that, we are combining with entities such as Windalco, the bauxite company, to pursue capacity building programs such as embryo transfer in order again to expand the stocks so that we can provide a more sustainable herd.
Dr. Tufton was speaking recently at this year's Minard Agriculture Show held in Brownstown, St. Anne. Those are the stories making the news today. For more information, please visit our website at www.jis.gov.jm. Stay with us. Jamaica Magazine continues. Thanks for staying with us. It's time now for a recap of the Prime Minister's weekly happenings. But before that, the FSC Minute.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am your host, Nadine Newsom. Today we